to introduce this opportunity to the students. And with that in mind, I'm going to introduce our head director. His name is Keith Hodgson. He's coming from South New Jersey, and he'll be talking a lot more in detail about our experience. So without further ado, Mr. Hodgson.
So I love starting the meeting with that collage of photos, because I took every one of those pictures in the last 5-6 years. In fact, the group of kids that were just sitting on that hillside, some of those were Carmel students, actually. So, Peter, you can leave this off. Thanks. But I took every one of those pictures over the last 4 or 5 years, and every one of those pictures that I took, I had 150 kids with me looking at every single one of those images that you just saw. So it is an unbelievable experience of a lifetime. So a little bit about me. I'm the head director of the tour. I am an assistant professor at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia of music education. I'm a former high school band director of 26 years in New Jersey, and now I teach graduate students in a certification program to be the next generation of music educators. I'm the past president of the New Jersey Music Educators Association, as well as the past president of the Eastern Division of our national association, which is the 12 states of the Northeast. I have been traveling to Europe for 22 years. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Currently in my doctoral program, I conduct a community band. I work with a music company called Zezwitz Music as their director of education. So that's a little bit about me in a snapshot. And I'll introduce you to the rest of the staff, the musical staff, and at the end of our slideshow itinerary. So my experience with American music abroad, I've been traveling for 22 years. This is my 22nd tour. This is my 14th year as the head director of the Gold Tour. My wife is also a high school band director, and she's also a director on this tour. She's actually gone more times than I have, because she went as a high school student, and I did not. But the reason why we keep going year after year is we love showing kids Europe. It just is something that does not get old at all. It's also a very safe, well-run tour, and actually I'm going to go over a list of reasons I want to share with you why I feel it's such a safe, well-run tour. But let me just say that as a professional and the one who's ultimately responsible for about 150 to 200 kids through 5 countries in Europe for 3 weeks, you think I'm crazy, right? I would not be doing it if I did not feel comfortable with the company and how well crafted the itineraries are. I have a lot of experienced staff and chaperones, like Mr. Valentoni. He's traveled with me for more than 10, 12 years, as well as Mr. La Mandola in the back. He's a choral director from Brookfield, just over the border in Connecticut, and we'll introduce him later as well. But most of my staff has been with me over a decade, and some of my senior staff have been with me over 15 years. Traveling on this tour. So it's something we do together well. We're also very good friends in addition to being great colleagues. And the musical experience really changes their lives. I'll give you an example. I love telling this story. A couple years ago, we were playing our last concert in France. And I remember us playing Stars and Stripes Forever as an encore at the end of our program. And these little old ladies in the front row, like 90 years old, tears streaming down their face. And I never forget, we were done playing, the flute players in the front row were like, Mr. Hodgson, why were they crying? You know, Stars and Stripes Forever, patriotic, upbeat, you know, it's a happy tune. And they didn't understand. I said, you have to understand, we saved them, like literally them. We saved their whole continent, and they have not forgotten that. And that's the experience the students have over there, that the Europeans love seeing American kids playing American music. And I'll talk more about the audiences and our musical experiences in my presentation. I love it. It's the best thing I love sharing about. So I always like to start talking about the tour in this balanced approach. First of all, it is an incredible travel and cultural experience, right? The kids are going to see some of the most beautiful countries in the world. That's going to be Austria, Italy, Switzerland, France, and Germany over 3 weeks. And we're going to be doing a lot of sightseeing. It's not all about the music, right? We're going to do a lot of sightseeing and touring. We're going to have some guided tour with local tour guides, some of the places that we go. It is also a once-in-a-lifetime musical opportunity. When else in your life are you going to get a chance to sing with a choir, play with a band or orchestra, and play for European audiences? That will just never happen again in your life. It's very unique to what you do in high school. You love being in band, choir, orchestra, and now you get a chance to go with about 150 to 200 high school students, just like you, representing 50 different high schools over 6 different states, and play for European audiences. And it will be an incredible experience and you'll never forget. And when you put that many high school students together, it's bound to be a social experience. And we love that. That's a very, very important aspect of this tour as well, and we want it. But it can't be all about the social, right? Could have problems. And we need to keep everything in balance. It's also not great to have it all about the music. That wouldn't be so much fun. It's got to be part of the tour, part of the experience. So when we balance all these things, that's when we have highly successful tours. And that's the key to great AMA Gold. So I love this picture. This is the way all our our concerts end. That's our band and our choir rejoins with our orchestra, and we do a combined finale. I think we're doing America the Beautiful there. And isn't that a gorgeous venue? That's an outdoor concert there. And we always end our concerts together. So a little bit about the tours and about the company. Our tour is a 3-week tour, 20 days, and all 20 of those days are in Europe. Our tour consists of a concert band, concert choir, and an orchestra. This is actually something a little bit new this year, and if you know of anybody from Carmel who has sent their children to Europe, they might tell you about this college experience. Most of the tours, and by the way, there are 8 of them that are all going to be crisscrossing Europe from American Music Abroad this summer. The Gold Tour is just one of those 8 tours. Most of the other tours are going to do the traditional route, which is to go to a college for 2.5 days. It's kind of like band camp or choir camp. We're there to practice all day, have orientation sessions, put together a concert, and then do a farewell concert for the parents, and then the next day fly to Europe. We're deciding to do something a little new. We're going to just we're going to meet at the airport, at Newark Airport, and we're going to fly to Europe. And then we were going to do in Austria what we would normally do at the college. We're just going to stay in Westendorf. I'll show you that little town in a few moments. And we're going to do the college experience actually in Europe. Everything I'm talking to you about tonight is included in the tour, including the round-trip airfare, high-quality hotels, motor coach transportation, all breakfast, all dinners, all entrance fees are included. Every evening is accounted for with planned group activities. This company has been sending students to Europe for 44 years. This is going to be the 45th year. In that time, we've sent over 40,000 kids to Europe. That's a lot of kids with a lot of parents who have had a lot of questions about sending their children abroad. We're going to try to answer a lot of them for you tonight, and then we're going to talk to you about the newsletters that you're going to be experiencing as well. These are also very careful in this 44 years. The company has learned how to craft just the most expertly wonderful itineraries, minute by minute of every day. And that's also the reason why we have such highly successful tours. Well-crafted itineraries. Here's a few photos of some of our tour guides that we might encounter. And our musical staff consists of public school music educators, band, choir, and orchestra directors. We also travel with 2 registered nurses. And we get a lot of educational information from these local tour guides. All right, so let's talk about going to Europe. We're going to meet, as I said, at Newark Airport. Gus, I love that picture of you. Gus, that's Gus, by the way. He's in the back. He lives in Brookfield. What's going to happen is we're going to meet at Newark Airport. We're going to check in. You're going to register, check in your luggage. We're going to box up your instruments get everything ready to fly. We're going to have a group orientation there at the airport in the ballroom. In fact, I just came from that airport this afternoon. I'm looking the hotel over where we're going to be, and it's going to work out great. And then we're going to have buses take us just about 20 minutes. We're 20 minutes outside of Newark Airport, and we're going to take the flights up to Newark for our departure. So here's the way it works. We have half of our tour leaving at 6:30, the other half leaving at 8:30 in the evening on two different flights. Once you get up, you're going to see the sunset. You're going to be heading east into the darkness, into the night, and they're going to then serve you dinner. Okay? And when dinner's over, they will turn out the cabin lights, and you'll go to sleep. The next thing you know, they wake you up for breakfast and serve you breakfast, and you land in Munich, Germany. Oh, that's our sunset off the East Coast. Oh, check this out. You're going to love this. Whoops. Oh, wait, no. That's worth going back. You got to see that. All right, ready? Quick 6 hours. All right, we land in Munich. Now, our first day, welcome to Europe. Your first experience on the ground is going to be getting lunch. Sometimes the kids will do that. They won't do it very often for a couple reasons. First of all, that large Coke is going to be served with like no ice in it. The meat tastes a little funny. And it's expensive. When you go to McDonald's, you get your lunch for $6 or $7. That's going to probably run you $15, $16. So the fast food over there is a little bit more expensive than you're used to. A little bit more typical European, Wiener Schnitzel, pommes frites. It's good stuff, yeah. You're going to have it every day. These outdoor cafes are so quaint. You're going to see them, Europe's famous for them, right? You're going to see them all over Europe. You're going to want to do that with your friends once in a while, but don't do it every day. You could find a sitting charge on your bill. Never heard of such a thing, a sitting charge. You know, when we're in Venice, on a hot day, you might go into a restaurant, you might get an air conditioning charge on your bill. So we're going to teach the kids about some of these customs that they're not used to hearing about. I like to go to these little fruit and vegetable markets in the little villages that we visit and grab some stuff and walk and explore the little cobblestone village and have a nice European experience rather than spending the lunch sitting in a restaurant. Okay, pastry, bakeries, great pizza. We're going to be in northern Italy. Pastry shops, gelati, lots of gelati. You're gonna have it probably every day. See, every kid's enjoying their gelati. This is the way we get around Europe. They'll pick us up in Munich, and they'll be with us for all 3 weeks until they drop us off back in Munich. The Lufthansa coach company, and here's the picture of the inside of the coach. Looks like a party going on in the back, probably somebody's birthday. By the way, these coach drivers, some of the most well-educated people I've ever met in my life. They speak 5-6 languages fluently, very well read. They are professional people. They also take a lot of pride in their coaches, keeping them clean, outside and inside. They're just always working on their coach and cleaning their coach. And the kids will become close with the coach drivers as well as our tour guide, which we'll introduce you to in a few moments. This might be one of the larger hotels we might stay in, the Durand Hotel in Germany. But it's actually not typical. We stay in a lot of villages, small villages, where we have these smaller pension, bed and breakfast type places that we're split up in many different ones. Here's a room for two, the Durand Hotel. I want to point out these beds. In Europe, the beds are always these single beds with separate down comforters and pillows and so forth. Even for couples, there's no queen size beds. It's just all these single beds pushed together. So, and every hotel room has a private bath and toilet. The kids might be thinking, of course, all hotel rooms have a private bath and toilet. Not in Europe. Any parents have experience traveling in Europe? I don't know what your experience, well, a lot of hands, good. I don't know what your experience has been, but that's not typical, right? Sometimes the nearest bathroom is like down the hall, down the steps, across the rooftop, and you find some co-ed facility that you're sharing. But with 150 high school kids, it's important that we have bathrooms in every room. As I said, the breakfasts and dinners are all included. Here's a little video of a sit-down dinner in Vienna, Austria. So That was in Vienna. I saw the piano and the dance area floor reminded me that our evening entertainment was waltz dancing. We're in Vienna. And so we had professional waltz dancers come and do demonstrations for us. Then they would get kids up and teach them how to waltz, and then have them waltzing with each other, get more kids up, and before you know it, all 150 kids are up waltz dancing. And so the kids could say they waltzed in Vienna. But we're not going to Vienna, so go ahead. The breakfast. This is actually just a slice of this picture. There's always these baskets of rolls, breads, croissants. You see all the jams and jellies. There's always fresh yogurt and plates of cheese and meats, and you'll be spoiled by the breakfast. That was my breakfast. I took a picture of my breakfast. You know what that brown stuff is? Nutella. Very good, very good. You'll have that every morning. Oh yeah, here's a breakfast spread. Not the continental breakfast at the Motel 6. Holiday Inn Express. Anyway, you get the idea. So we're going to check in at Newark Airport, as I told you, in a ballroom. Have a short orientation. We're going to put you in groups and then take you to the airport, get you through security, and we're going to fly to Europe. When we land in Europe, the first thing we're going to do is take you to lunch in front of the famous Glockenspiel. This is a famous building in Munich. The area in front of the Glockenspiel and for several miles is actually blocked off from traffic. So it's a nice, safe place to take the kids for them to get some fine lunch and do some shopping and explore the town in a German city. They're staying right on that main shopping area drag. And our meeting spot is right there in front of the Glockenspiel. A couple of pictures of the Glockenspiel. We love the lunch in Munich. And then we're going to head east into the Alps, and we are going to arrive in time for dinner in Westendorf. Which would have been more dramatic if I didn't have that slide in between. But anyway, check that out. That's Westendorf. By the way, this is one of our hotels. That's another one of our hotels. Don't touch the flowers. Around the corner is another one. That chapel, isn't that pretty? The choir is actually going to spend their rehearsal time in the chapel. That's going to be their rehearsal space, yeah. There's an Alpenrosenhall, which you're going to see pictures of in a moment. That's where the band's going to rehearse. Our orchestra is going to rehearse in the music school. There's a very modern new music school that they built in town here. And by the way, that mountain, you're all going to go up and have picnic lunch on that mountain. So we'll talk about that in a second. So that's it. That's Westendorf. So this is a ski resort, right? In the wintertime. And we're here in the summer, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. And look at that countryside. This whole area of Austria is called the Tyrolean region, right? Tyrol. And this whole area of Austria just looks like it's carpeted in green. So when we're in Austria, I told you we're going to do our college kind of thing here. We're going to do rehearsals, but rather than like at the college, we would rehearse all morning, all afternoon, all night, right? For 2.5 days. Here in Austria, our plan is to rehearse in the morning, and then let the kids have the afternoon free to go on the mountain and have a picnic lunch and do some hiking. And then maybe have an after-dinner rehearsal, and then go to the Carrot for a disco dance. And we're going to have, that's what the days are going to be like in Austria. So in addition to the rehearsals, we're going to have some orientation time, full group orientation. Realize there's so much that we have to go over with the kids. And by the way, we are going to do some of it on Zoom in the 2 months prior to going. We're going to meet like every other Sunday night on Zoom calls, and maybe even have some rehearsals with you on mute, with your instrument out and playing along, and working through some of the music. You will also we're planning on having the music out to you almost 6 months in advance. So around December, January, we're planning on getting everybody's music to them, download the PDFs, and then start practicing and getting your music under the fingers. So in our orientation sessions, part of the experience is also playing a lot of games. Icebreaker type games, because we have a lot of people that need to get to know each other, right? We need to make 100 friends in a couple days. And then we're going to continue building those friendships for a couple of weeks. So there's a picture of the band rehearsing. Again, with lots of great name tags so we all learn each other's names. Orchestra rehearsing. Carmel student, by the way. Miss Colleen Wallace. And then we're going to give a concert. what we used to call our farewell concert at the college, right? Farewell to the parents, we're going to go to Europe. We're not going to call it that. We're going to call it like an inaugural European concert, right? Our first concert in Europe. It's going to be on a Sunday from Westendorf, and we're going to live stream it on Facebook. It's going to be 8 o'clock at night for us, so it's going to be like 2 in the afternoon for you. Hopefully nobody's at work on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and hopefully it's going to work out to be a great time for you to check in on our concert. But of course, when it's on Facebook like that, you can watch it after the fact too. All right, so one of the evenings that we're there, we're going to have a Tyrolean Austrian fest. And this group comes out, they do all the lederhosen slapping, right? There's a German Oompa band backing them up, they do the log chopping, there's wood flying everywhere. I think we have a little video to show you. Yeah, here we go. Experiences in Tyrol. I talked about going on the mountain and having a picnic lunch with the cows, literally will. And when you come down, this is going to be your view. So here's Westendorf, center of town. This is the Tyrolean Festival we just watching. They're not behind fences. They really do wear those cowbells. This is a commercial. It's airing in Austria, advertising our concert. And this is the gold tour. Where the band's going to rehearse, and that's where our inaugural concert will be aired from, right there. That was really neat. That was filmed the year before, and when the following year, I was shown that, and they were saying this is a 30-second commercial that's been airing all over Austria, advertising the American Music Abroad tours. By the way, all 8 tours I talked about, they all go to Westendorf. So like every couple days, another tour is coming through town, and so. All right, the next day we're going to go to this glass-blowing town called Rattenberg. It's on the River Inn. We're going to have demonstrations of glass-blowing techniques. They usually choose one male, female students to come up and try it out and get to keep the glass in the blow. This guy's pulling that hot molten glass out of the oven, and he pulls at it for 30 seconds to a minute, and all of a sudden he's got a beautiful glass swan. You can buy some souvenirs here. This woman will engrave some of the glass souvenirs you buy. So let me just say this, you also don't want to just carry glass souvenirs around Europe. So if you buy souvenirs here in Rattenberg, you want to send them home. Okay, very easy. They'll just package it up and UPS it, and that's what they do with everybody. So do some souvenir shopping, and then we're going to take you to the top of a glacier, 10,000 feet in the Alps. So here, oh wait, isn't that like the beginning, you hear the Sound of Music, and you see Julie Andrews, hills are like, all right, we'll get to Salzburg soon. So we get the kids on these gondolas, and here we are at the bottom. heading up. You get to the snow, yep, this is July, right? You get up above the clouds, you get up above the tree line, and then almost there, then you're on top of the world. You're gonna make snow angels, have a snowball fight, and hopefully have some great views. Hopefully it's a really clear day. It's not always, no guarantee. That's actually not a great clear day, but you see that little placard on the left? What that says is on a clear day, you can see the Alps of 5 countries. And it points to different peaks, and you can see the French Alps, the Italian Alps, the German Alps, the Austrian Alps, and the Swiss Alps, all from this spot at Hindertux Glacier in Austria. So amazing. Oh, this is me. So there's a nice fenced-in area up there. You can play around with some inner tubes and have a good time. All right. This says free day. Actually, when we used to be in Westendorf just for a couple days, one of the days you had a free day. But since we're going to be there for like 5 or 6 days, and we also are mixing in all the practicing, it might be a couple half days as we work our schedule. So let's talk about what you do though. First of all, you see that aqua spot in the middle there? That's a huge, large community swimming pool. You can rent bikes and motor scooters. Lots of nice places to ride bikes. You can go hiking. If you have experience, you can go horseback riding. But what everybody does is they go with their friends to the supermarket and they buy picnic lunch and they go up this right here, this chairlift, and they go up to the top of the mountain and have a picnic lunch with the cows. And there's other animals up there as well that you can see. I was talking about the cows before. Do you know why they wear those cowbells? You saw that they're not behind fences. They're just all roaming the mountainside together. So it's to tell the farmers that they can tell whose cows are whose. They all have a certain pitch. And these are my cows and these are your cows, right? So that's why they wear those cowbells. All right, so there's some students doing some hiking. And when I say they have a picnic lunch, that's literally what it looks like. You're gonna have picnic lunch with your friends. I love this photo. It's more than 10 or 12 years old at this point, but so these 2 girls did not know each other. One's from Point Pleasant Borough High School in New Jersey. The other one's from Cherokee High School in New Jersey. And actually both had many other students from their schools going to Europe with them. But they didn't necessarily want to room with any of their kids from school. They wanted to meet somebody new. They let the computer just match them up, and they became roommates and best friends. And they still are to this day. The friendships, I tell kids, you are going to build closer friendships with kids you go to Europe with for 3 weeks than kids that you go to school with for 12 years. Because of the shared experiences that you have over there and how unique they are. Again, any of those Carmel students? A couple Brookfield, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Brookfield.
And Johnny, you took that picture, didn't you? Johnny Law?
Yeah.
That is yours, right? So that's going to be our first concert in Westendorf. And the next day we're going to go to Salzburg. So what's Salzburg famous for? Anything? Mozart, yeah, Mozart, right? It's his birthplace. You can go in his birth house and anything else? Sound of Music. Yep, Sound of Music. So you maybe recognize Mirabelle Gardens. You know that fountain right there? That's where the kids were skipping around when they were singing Do Re Mi. Remember when they were jumping up and down on the steps singing Do Re Mi? You'll see those steps. The kids all do it. They all get on the steps and jump up and down. And this famous castle fortress overlooks the old town. So that's Mozart's birth house. You can go in there and see the pianoforte that he played. Realize it's like one of the first pianos ever invented. Prior to that, we were using harpsichords. Beginning of the classical time period with Mozart, there was the invention of the piano. So the old town has no traffic in it. Great place, again, to take 150 high school kids and give them free time. We're going to spend the whole day in Salzburg and have lots of time to do shopping and finding places to eat. We're also going to have a guided Sound of Music walking tour with local tour guides in Salzburg and learn an awful lot about a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful city. That's a chocolate store, all Mozart chocolate. So the old town is everything on this side of the water, right? This is the old town. This is taken from that castle fortress. That church right there, and lots of churches, but this one right here with the green roof is actually the main cathedral where Mozart played, and actually where he was baptized. His baptismal fonts in the back. You can touch that and see that. And our choir will actually get a chance to get on some risers in there for visiting choirs and have a few minutes to sing a couple of their a cappella pieces and experience the acoustics of one of the most beautiful churches in Europe. All right, now we're going to head south to Italy through the Brenner Pass, and we are going to, we're headed to a spa town outside of Venice, about 45 minutes outside of Venice, and it's a little bit of a drive, so we're going to stop at a great lake resort called Riva di Garda. It's one of our favorite stops on the tour in this lake, and that'll be a lunch stop, and then we'll continue on, and by the time just before dinner, we'll arrive in Abano Terme. So the next day, we're going to take you to Venice. You're looking at like a couple hundred islands right there, all connected by little walk bridges. Again, no traffic. There's no traffic in Venice. It's just all small, narrow shopping streets. It's a very, very touristy area. You have to get there by boat. So we put you on a big water taxi, take you down the Grand Canal, and we drop you off at St. Mark's Square. You're going to see these gondolas, right? Realize this is a different kind of gondola than 2 days ago. You just took a gondola up the Alps to a glacier. That's also called a gondola. But these gondolas, you've obviously seen it in movies and in pictures. We're going to teach the kids how to bargain with the gondoliers. You're going to say no to the first gondolier. You're going to say no to the second gondolier. You're going to try to get them down from 150 euro to 120 or 100 euro. And then here's a tip. It's not the romantic ride for two. You're going to spend 100 euro. So you go with 5 or 6 of your friends, you get a good price for the boat, and then you divide it with 5 of your friends. And now you get a chance for 20 euro, you get a chance to go on a great gondola ride. We'll see a couple of them. St. Mark's Square has one of the most famous cathedrals in the world, St. Mark's Cathedral. St. Mark is entombed in there. All those domes, when you go inside, they're all covered with gold mosaic. Wonderful cathedral. That's the Rialto Bridge. That's the largest of the walk bridges in Venice. You probably might see that in pasta commercials or on spaghetti boxes. Very famous walk bridge. Over the Grand Canal. AMA kids enjoying their gondola ride together. And the famous Bridge of Sighs. So, the story is that on the left side is the court and on the right side is the jail. And when people were sentenced, they would be walked across this bridge, and they would look out these little windows and they would sigh at their last view of Venice before going to jail. So the story goes. But everybody stops to take a picture of it. One of the most famous things. These were my kids almost 20 years ago. That picture's almost 20 years old at this point, but those were students of mine when I was at Mainland Regional High School outside of Atlantic City. So here's one of our concerts in Italy. This is in Abano Terme, the spa town right outside of Venice that we're staying at. We're going to have a concert that night. And I like to tell the story of this photo. So we're setting up to do, John, was this your first year?
Yes.
It was John's first year, and John's the only choir director, and the choir usually starts our concert. So we're setting up, there's nobody there, right? I mean, this is just like a walking area. There's like a piano bar here, but so anyway, what we did was the band played a Sousa March, that we're going to play later in the concert. 2.5 minutes, Sousa March. In just that 2.5 minutes, 200 people just showed up, standing around looking at us. So then we said to John, go ahead, take the choir out there and go ahead and start the concert. Choir starts the concert, 300 people, 400 people. By the time the band started, 500 people, 600 people. By the time the concert ended, we had 700 people surrounding. I mean, look, they were surrounding all the way around the band, almost in a circle, and they were like 30 deep. And most of them were standing the entire time. The other thing that you can't really see from here in this picture, but most of them are dressed in their Sunday best. And it was not Sunday. So here's the Italian culture. They get dressed up at night, like 10 o'clock at night, and they go out for a walk. That's what they do. And so these 700 people were just all out for a walk. Hey, that would never happen in the United States. Ever. Anywhere. Name one place that might happen. So anyway, that's the experience, the concert experiences that the kids have All right, we're leaving Venice now. We're going to head up into Switzerland, and we're going to stop for lunch at Lake Como. Anybody heard of Lake Como? It's a very famous lake. A lot of famous people have houses there. Who has a house there? George Clooney. Right? Clooney has a house there. But anyway, it's a great lunch stop, and we are going to arrive that evening in time for dinner, a nice Swiss dinner, in Engelberg, Switzerland, high up in the Alps. And Engelberg is surrounded 360-degree panoramic view of that in July. Snow-capped mountains. So we're going to have a great Swiss dinner, usually like a cheese fondue type of very common in Switzerland. And then we're going to have a little concert of alpenhorns. They come and perform for us. Then the kids get a chance to try them out. That's always fun. Get lots of good pictures with the kids playing. The next day we're going to visit Lucerne. This is Lake Lucerne. You might be able to do some paddle boating. There's paddle boats for the lake. It has this famous covered flower bridge. One of the things that always strikes me about Lucerne is the architecture. This lake is just surrounded by churches and castles and buildings with great Swiss architecture. And it's going to be very striking because you just came from Italy, and the architecture is going to be completely different. And they had just come from Austria, and that architecture is completely different. So, you're going to then go to France and then Germany, and it's going to be amazing the contrast in culture and in architecture and music and people and food and language and everything. So it is amazing. We're going to visit the famous lion monument that was carved to commemorate the Swiss Guard. You'll do some shopping. Probably not that shopping, but you'll see $1 million Rolexes covered with diamonds. You'll walk past them and go up 3 flights to the swatch department. You'll see all kinds of great swatches that you'd never find in the United States. Inlaid wooden music boxes, Swiss Army knives. Hopefully not that Swiss Army knife. But that reminds me, you can get those engraved with your name and stuff. On the final night of our tour, when we're giving our announcements and getting ready to catch our flights the next day, we're going to teach the kids that these things need to be in their checked luggage. Because if they forget and they show up at the airport and it's in their carry-on, it's gone. They're going to take it. Even the little Swiss cards, they're like a credit card with all the cool there's like a dozen little things in them. Even those will get taken. And it's a shame when a little souvenir that you like so much disappears. So we have to be very, very careful about the flights home. All right, so next we're headed to France. We're just over the Swiss-German border into France. This is called the Alsatian region of France. It used to be Germany. Then it was France. Then it was Germany. Then it was France. Then it was Germany. Like that happened like 6 times over 200 years. And every time that happened, these people were forced to change everything about their way of life. Their language, their religion, their architecture. And you're going to see that. You're literally going to see German architecture and French architecture in houses and buildings right next to each other side by side. This also is a famous wine country. The famous Riesling wine comes from the Alsatian region of France. So the landscape is just covered in vineyards like this. And we are going to Colmar, France. And we're staying in Colmar in hotels right here. Isn't that beautiful? It really looks like it. That's Colmar. And again, beautiful little towns, quaint. So here you're looking at this is in France, but what you're looking at looks very German. That's called a German half-timbered home. If you don't know what a half-timbered home is, in the old days, the white used to be like a straw hay mud mix, and if you wanted to move, you could punch that out, fold up your timbers, move, reset it up, and fill it in again, and that was kind of the idea of a half-timbered home. Of course, it's all concrete and solid now, but that's what I mean about the German architecture being found in France. So this is in Strasbourg, famous city of Strasbourg. It's actually one of the European capitals, right? If you're not aware of this, unlike Washington, which stays permanent all year, the European Union has a capital a third of the year in Luxembourg City, a third of the year in Strasbourg, France, and I think a third of the year in, is it Geneva? Where's the third? I think. The next day, we're going to go to a famous French castle called Koningsberg. This is, you can't tell from the picture, a huge castle. It's going to take you almost 2 hours to explore. It's self-guided, so you're going to go with your friends and just explore. This castle was actually bombed during World War II. They rebuilt it, but not only on the outside, they actually decorated the inside. We kind of refer to it as a Disney-fied castle. So you're going to see like chandeliers, tapestries. There's an armor room. There's cannons and all kinds of cool stuff. So and furniture and stuff. So anyway, lots of great castle. And it sits up on top of a hill, and 360 degrees. That's the panorama. You see little French villages peppering the countryside and covered in vineyards. And then we're going to go to one of those towns for lunch. This is called Riviere. Like you're looking at the whole town. I love getting what I have there for lunch. Quiche Lorraine. I love getting the quiche Lorraine for that. The chocolate crepes are amazing. What else do you guys have? Macaroons, right? Fresh out of the oven. Escargot. All right, we're going to have a great French concert. The French audiences are always amazing and very memorable. And this is the famous Strasbourg Cathedral. The picture does not do it. It is gigantic. It's one of the largest ones I've ever seen. And this is Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude is our French tour guide. And he's from Strasbourg, France. He speaks 6 languages fluently. He is a former tennis pro from France. He is an author. He's written several books on tennis. And I told you I've gone 22 years. He has been the tour guide on the Gold Tour for 36 years. So he's been doing this a long time. And by the way, both his daughters are also tour guides for other tours, American Music Abroad tours. And I knew both of them when they were this big. We are now going a little further north along the Rhine River to the city of Koblenz. Koblenz is where the Rhine and Mosel rivers meet. At that juncture is the city of Koblenz. We're going to go up in the evening and have a nice view of over Koblenz from that fortress up there. We're going to have a concert in the Koblenz area. And the next day we're going to go on a Rhine River cruise. So a little bit of the Rhine Valley, very beautiful there. That's our cruise ship. About a 2.5-hour cruise down the Rhine to Rudesheim, where we'll then, and this is like the view all down the Rhine. Castles, castle ruins, churches, hills lined with vineyards. And we were then going to, the next day, go to Heidelberg. Heidelberg is an old German university town. It's got a great long street, again, no traffic, but great for shopping and lunch. You can also visit the castle ruins up on the hillside. This picture is taken from the castle. There. So you get a chance to go up to the castle ruins. And now we're going to, so we're right on the German and French border, right? We're now going to cross into Germany, and we're going to travel east along the Romantic Road, and we are going to arrive here in Dinkelsbühl, Germany. That's not Epcot. That's very old German city. How old? Each of these buildings are original 10th century homes. Do you got kids? Do you have any idea how old that is? 10th century. So you see the castle in the back? I mean the tower. There's like 10 of those towers surrounding the town, all connected by a wall and a moat. That always reminds me you're going to have a free day in Dinkelsbühl for shopping and exploring. Why a free day? Because it's fully walled and moated. That's a joke. Okay. Don't swim in the moat. Isn't that beautiful, beautiful town? So here I want to tell you why Dinkelsbühl is famous. Dinkelsbühl is famous because of the children. So there's a very famous festival known worldwide called the Kindersäcken, the Children's Festival. And every year they celebrate what the children did. And let me tell you what that was. So back or whatever, I don't know what year it was, when the Swedes came down from the north and they were conquering this area of Germany, they were camped outside the wall and they were getting ready to attack and pillage this town. And then the story goes, the Swedish general saw a Dinkelsbühl child and reminded him very much of his own child, and he decided he was going to spare Dinkelsbühl. And they didn't attack. And so the people of Dinkelsbühl have celebrated the time when the children saved the town. And it's called the Kindersäcken. So guess when the Kindersäcken is going to be? The week we're there. Yeah, we are actually, it's a week-long festival, Monday to Saturday. We're going to be there on the Thursday and Friday of that week, at the height of the festival. It's going to be amazing. By the way, this is one of the places that we stay. Annabella. Did I get that right? Annabella? So Annabella, look. That can be your room. Do you think there's an elevator in there? No, no, no. There's about a 350-year-old spiral staircase that heads up there. It's a great room, by the way. You'll be glad that your suitcase only weighs 35 pounds when you're headed up there. But that's the Golden Rose, and this is an example of the smaller pensions that we are in. We're spread out in like 7 or 8 of these around town. As you can see, they're all over the place. There's a room for 2 in the Golden Rose, all hand-carved furniture. Again, the down comforters and pillows, you're going to fall in love with them, want to bring them home. Downstairs in each of these is the meal room where we're going to have breakfast and dinners. I know this is a concert night because I can see their concert uniforms. Normally we would get in our concert uniform before dinner because we're going directly to the concert site immediately following. All our dinners, like I said, multi-course serve sit-down meals. And by the way, there is always tap water in pitchers on the table at dinner. And you should drink that. All right? And they'll keep refilling them, and they're free. But it's very important that you do drink a lot of water because that's how we stay healthy on this trip, right? We drink more water and we get more sleep. And we wash our hands a lot. Okay? That's really important. When you're traveling with 150 kids, we need to think about the health of the trip, health of the tour on a daily basis. And drinking more water is part of that. So let's say you want something else to drink. You want a Coke or Sprite, Fanta iced tea. Let's say you want bottled water, your own bottled water. You can order that, but then afterwards they come around with their little change purse and they say you owe for 2 Cokes. All right, you pay for your 2 Cokes. By the way, when you order bottled water, it comes with gas in it, right? Fizzy water. That's the way the Europeans do water. They do have regular water. You have to specify on a gas or natural, and they'll bring regular bottled water. Again, you're gonna have to pay for that. But you should drink the tap water. People always say, "Is the water okay to drink?" It's better than our water. So drink a lot. Hey, so in Germany is a very Christmas-oriented country. Every village has a Christmas ornament store. So that's a Christmas ornament store. You'll see all kinds of Christmas ornaments that you can buy as souvenirs. Other shopping, the nutcrackers. Germany's famous for the nutcrackers. The German beer steins with the pewter tops, very ornate, very, very pretty. We're in the Black Forest, cuckoo clocks, inlaid wooden music boxes, Birkenstocks. How much do Birkenstocks cost in the mall? $120? $35 in Nickens Blue. My wife buys 3 pair a year. How many years did I say I've been going? Do the math. That's like what my wife's closet looks like. She buys the Pelio brand, so like there's always new colors and designs, so she has to have 3 more pairs. Stuffed animals, but look at the kids' feet, see? All wearing Birkenstocks. Okay, another famous thing about Dinkelsbühl is this famous boys band, the Dinkelsbühl Boys Band. Every boy in Dinkelsbühl is in the band. Starting at 6 years old, they start playing drums, and they up through 18, they move on to wind instruments, and they're world famous. They played in the Olympics. In the old Soviet days, they played in the Soviet Friendship Games. And they're a big part of this festival, obviously. When I talk about this festival, there's going to be parades through town, like 5 times a day. They're going to wake you up. The first parade's at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and every couple hours there's another one. And aren't they great? There's the children. So everybody in Dinkelsbühl is involved in this. It's kind of like a reenactment, right? The Gettysburg reenactment, where they're just kind of playing out this thing. Half the Dinkelsbühl people are the Swedes. They literally have a camp outside the wall, and pigs on rotisseries and teepees, and they're dressed in Swedish uniforms, and they're all part of the parades. And then the Dinkelsbühl people. It's really great to see a European culture like this celebrating their culture and their history. Where else are you going to see that? We're going to have a great German concert. By the way, our concerts, there's 7 concerts over there. They're kind of like every other night. Every other night on the tour, we have another concert. The nights in between have planned group activities. Here's a concert here in the town hall, in the town square. Oh, this is cool. This is the end of a little video clip, and I want you to catch the pipe organ in the back when it pans to the back, and then I'll tell you about this in a second. Germany. The Thomaskirche is a very famous church because Bach served there for 27 years, over 350 years ago. That was the pipe organ that Bach played. And he's buried right there in that church. We were performing right in front of his gravesite. That audience, did you see them packed in there? What you couldn't see is there was also a big balcony that was filled. 1,200 people were at that concert. The story is that we pulled up out front, and we were supposed to set up out front the church for the concert, but it was drizzling. So they said, okay, we're going to move it inside. We went in there, and this is funny, the staff, we had no idea that Bach was actually buried there. We go in there to figure out where the band's going to sit up, where the choir is going to stand, and we see this big brass plate in the floor, Johann Sebastian Bach. And we're down there taking selfies, totally forgetting that the kids are out of the bus, that we got to go unload and get set up on time. But when we left that night, the priest told us that the head count was 1,200 people. Unbelievable. The next day, we're going to visit Rotenburg, Altauber, a very famous town, very much like Dinkelfuel, much larger, very great town to do some more souvenir shopping and experience an old German city. That's on the Romantic Road. And the next day, we're going to have a lunch stop at the famous Neuschwanstein Castle. I've never been there. Our tour has never stopped there before, so this is going to be a new thing for us. That's going to be a great lunch stop. They call it the Disney Castle because that was the castle that the Orlando Disney World was modeled after. Okay? So you get to go to that great French castle, and you're going to go to a great German castle. Next, we're going to Innsbruck, the famous Golden Roof here. Great town in Austria, Innsbruck, Austria. It was also the home of the Olympics, right? The Olympics were held in Austria. Another great ski town. We're going to have our final concert at the foot of the Alps. Literally, like kids are going to be performing and looking up at the Alps as they're playing their final concert. The next day, we're going to visit a concentration camp. This is at Dachau, just outside of Munich. It's a very sobering visit. I'm very, very proud to say I've taken thousands of kids to Dachau. You're going to visit, this is a big museum. You're going to work your way through the museum and learn an awful lot and experience that. This foundation right here, there's a large expanse of like 50 of these foundations. That's where all the barracks used to be on this concentration camp. They're all torn down. Actually, there is one that's rebuilt that you can kind of go in and see maybe what the quarters were like. But it's just left as a stark reminder of what was there. At the back, there's monuments of religious faiths you can pay some respect. We encourage the kids to have some time to go to the left of those over this bridge, and then they will be able to visit the crematorium, which is all still there. All the ovens are still there, gas chamber room, and so forth. After that, it's a morning visit. We're going to return to Munich. Remember we started here? When we landed, we came here for lunch. We're now going to return to the same exact spot for our lunch that day. The kids will get a chance to explore a little bit more here in Munich. And then we're flying out of Munich. So the next day, our flights are right close by. We actually have the afternoon, so we're going to go to the BMW factory museum, which is right there in Munich. Fantastic. We also have not been there before, so it's going to be a lot of fun to go there. And a lot of people have said it is fantastic, and also great for large group tours. Okay, we're going to have our final goodbye night. We're going to a hotel near the airport, and we're going to have a final farewell banquet, and then we're going to say our goodbyes, and the next morning we're going to be taking flights. So just to give you a quick review, we land in Munich, and we go to Austria. Here's Westendorf. We're going to visit Salzburg. We're going to do the glacier, do all that sort of thing. Then we're going to go down into Italy, stopping at, here's Riva de Garda, right on this lake right here. And then we're going to go to Venice, staying in Albano Terme. Then we go to Lake Como, lunch on the way back up to Switzerland. There's Engelberg, high up in the Alps. And we're going to Lucerne that day. And then through Switzerland too. Here's Colmar, France, and Strasbourg. This is the Alsatian region of France. And then up the Rhine River to Koblenz. We're going to then catch the boat for the Rhine River cruise down the Rhine to Heidelberg. Then we're going to come across the Romantic Road to Dinkelsbühl and to Neuschwanstein Castle. And we're going to then go down to Innsbruck for our final concert. and then back to Munich where we finish the tour. All right? Form a nice big circle. We get the 5 countries, 3 weeks. Here's just a little video of some of our concert performances. I believe this was our last tour in 2019. By the way, most of our music is Americana-based, not all of it, but we do a lot of patriotic, we do Broadway, we do jazz, marches, things that are known as American folk music and so forth, so gives you an idea. You saw some of the venues. Sometimes they're in churches, sometimes they're outdoors. A lot of our concerts are outdoors, in fact. Okay, so I already told you about myself. Let me introduce you to some of the other staff members. This is the instrumental staff. That's my wife, Jennifer Hodgson, from Manhattan, New Jersey. Miss Karen Seward is an elementary school teacher, music teacher, and a percussion specialist from Baltimore, Maryland. Mr. Chris Navy is at Catonsville High School in Baltimore. Your own from Carmel, New York, Peter Valentoni, band actually, Harrison is at Southington High School. He's one of the band directors at Southington, just not too far away in Connecticut. He was actually a student on the tour in 2007. This is going to be his first year as a director. And it's Mr. Scott Ainscough from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, out near Harrisburg. So with me and those 6, there's 7 band and orchestra directors, and we all share the conducting. And I like the fact that we're giving so many different styles, conducting styles, rehearsal techniques, music education, really, to all the students as part of their experience. Our choral staff, Mr. Eric Griffith from Cumberland Valley High School in Pennsylvania. Close by here in the back of the room, from Brookfield, Connecticut, John Lamondola. Robert Dumas from Oswego High School, that's up near the Canadian border, upstate New York. And Jennifer Ramses from Exeter High School in New Hampshire. And that's our choral staff. Also, we have 2 school counselors going. And Lexi Lamondola is also a music teacher right in the back there. And Nicole Valentoni, Peter's wife, is also in the back right there. So you have a lot of staff here tonight. And we also have the other pictures that you see are our coach drivers from the past. Jean-Claude, of course. And there's a nice staff picture, one of my favorites. And this is Jean-Claude again. And yes, that is him dancing the YMCA at the discotheque. So I want to play a little clip where you can hear him talk. A couple of years ago, we were at the airport, and the kids had gone through security. They were at the gate waiting for their flight. I had a little bit of time, so Jean-Claude, I call him JC and I decided to get another cup of coffee before I left. And as we're having coffee, I said, JC, you got to talk to the kids. Let me make a video. Say something to the kids. And this is what he said to the kids.
AMA kids, I love you. I love you really, and I won't forget you. And as I said last night, to stay young, I need you. Thank you.
Dear man. All right, so let's talk about what's included. Everything I've talked to you about tonight is included. And I'm going to review real quick the orientation session at Newark, the round trip air transportation, transfer to the airport from the hotel. The transportation via motor coach for the whole itinerary, including transfer to the airports. Arrangements for the concerts, including advertising, hall rental, transfer. Transportation of instruments, accommodations in excellent quality hotels. Multiple occupancy room with a private bath and toilet. Breakfast and multi-course dinner daily. The services of Jean-Claude, our English-speaking escort. All tips, taxes, restaurant. You won't be dealing with any of that. More inclusions. The Tyrolean Folk Festival. The cable car ride up the glacier in Austria. The guided tour of... Oh, I forgot to tell you. We're going to the salt mines in Austria. You know the salt mines that you go down? I've never been to them. And that's something new as well. That's why I forgot about it. Anyway, guided tour of Salzburg. Round-trip boat transportation into Venice, in and out of Venice. The guided tour of Königsberg Castle. The guided Rhine River boat cruise. The walking tour of Dinkelsbühl. The guided tour of Neuschwanstein Castle. Self-guided tour of Dachau concentration camp. The guided tour of the BMW factory in Munich. Student travel protection plan. By the way, there is a basic level insurance part. You can always apply and buy additional insurance if you want. But that is something that is actually new to the company this year, is that there's actually a basic insurance already planned as part of the tour. American Music Abroad travel tips, newsletters, information materials. I want to talk about that for a second. Remember the 40,000 kids who have gone to Europe and all the parents? Imagine all the questions that they have ever had about sending their child abroad. The company, one of the best things this company has done is listen to those questions, and they answer them in the form of these newsletters. So if you go on this tour, starting in January, participants and parents are all going to get in their email about a 6 to 8 page newsletter in January, in February, in March, in April, and there are different topics that are covered in each one. You're probably not going to be interested in every detail in those January, February, March. Please print them out, punch 3 holes, and put them in a binder. I guarantee when you're packing a couple days before you go, you're going to want to know every single detail that's in those newsletters. All right, so they're fantastic. Also, the tips for the drivers in Jean-Claude, they are also included in the tour cost up front, so that you're not going to have any additional cost. Really, the only thing the students need money for on the trip are their lunches and any small souvenirs. The student travel, I'm not going to read this to you if you want to just kind of take a glance at that and look that over. And by the way, the sign-in that you did tonight from the QR code, you guys will all. And by the way, if you only did the paper one on your way out, maybe do the QR code. The problem is we couldn't get cell service in here. That's why we had it all out in the hallway. But what that's going to do is it's going to send you an email tonight, 90 minutes after you submitted that. It's going to generate an email, and you're going to get all this information digitally in the digital packet. Okay? It's going to have bios on all the staff members. It's going to have all the details and the itinerary. Peter, you want to get ready to hand those out? Maybe half of you can come. We're going to give you a flyer tonight with a QR code on the flyer, and that's actually how you're going to register. If you want to sign up for this trip, you do another QR code to actually apply. It's a different application. So let's talk about, while they're passing that out, what's not included? Uniforms. I'm wearing the guy's uniform. Gray slacks, black shoes and socks, white shirt, any kind of red or blue pattern tie, and a navy blue blazer. All right, they'll give you the patch and the pin. Guys look great. You saw from the pictures, ladies, navy blue slacks, black or blue closed-toed low-heeled shoes. Why low heels? Walking on Cobblestones and heels don't mix. So I don't want any twisted ankles. Low heels. White blouse and a flag red blazer. Where are you going to get a flag red blazer? There's lots of Carmel students who probably have it in their closets that are never going to wear it again. You get some hand-me-downs. Hey, but the newsletters that I just talked about. In the January newsletter, there's going to be like 4 online companies that we know carry the red blazers. And you can order your red blazer online. All right, so passports. You're not going very far without a passport. Costs about 120 bucks. Get your pictures taken, you send it in, 3 or 4 weeks later you get your passport back. You should get started on your passport right away. Lunches, as I said, the only thing you need money for really is lunches. We'll talk about how much in a minute. Or beverages and evening meals, but you're all going to drink? Water. Okay, good, you can go. And the last thing is the homebound bus from JFK. Actually, it's probably going to be Newark. When we get back to Newark, New Jersey, you're welcome to go pick up your son or daughter. Or we will put together some homebound buses. So a bus that would probably pick up the Connecticut folks, come up here to, maybe the Danbury, Milk Lane Road, exit 2 right there, that commuter lot, and maybe have a drop-off right there. So you can literally just go right over the border in Connecticut there. We'll have a drop-off there, and then they'll go probably to Southington High School, because there's already like 25 people from Southington on a tour. So we're probably going to get a homebound bus to definitely come up in here to Connecticut. And that's probably like 60, 70 bucks, and that's what it would probably cost to go all the way to Newark and back anyway. So, money, survival money. You should have about $450 survival money. That, if you budget properly, that'll pay for your lunches for 3 weeks and some small souvenirs. Now, that doesn't cover, let's say, the cuckoo clock. If you want to get the cuckoo clock, you add it to the $450. You got the idea? How much? They're literally going to send you in the newsletters a shopping list. And they'll tell you what the typical German, French, Italian souvenirs are, approximate prices. You can sit down with your son or daughter and figure out how much extra spending money you want to spend. Now, listen, we cannot take 150 cuckoo clocks on the coach buses. There's no room for them at all. So if your souvenirs can't fit in your suitcase, you got to send them home. So again, same thing with the glassware, right? You're going to UPS stuff home that is not going to be able to be carried. Ways to bring money, euros. Everybody must bring euros. I go to TD Bank, order my euro, they call me 2 days later, 3 days later, say your euros are here, and I come pick them up, and I go get them. That's what you want to do. You don't want to land in Munich and go out finding lunch with your friends and have American cash in your pocket. That's not going to do you any good. Also, every student should have a Visa card, right, with a PIN. Piece of plastic, euros. It actually was a lot more fun when we had the little film containers. Kids don't know what I'm talking about. But I had my shillings in one, and my Swiss francs in another, and my German francs in another. That was like, and then you had to change currency every time we crossed the border. New money. All right, student safety. This is what I wanted to go over with you. First of all, there are rules and regulations. If you go on this trip, you're going to sign paperwork, you and your parents saying you agree to abide by the rules and regulations of American Music Abroad. We only take the best kids. This is not open to anybody. We only go to schools where we know they have good music programs, and where we know and trust the band and choir directors, and we ask them to nominate and recommend their students, and they approve them to go. We have a chaperone ratio of 10 to 1. So if we have 150, there's going to be 15 adult chaperones. My staff is already overstaffed. I have almost 20 members of my staff. But we have 2 registered nurses with us on the tour, and our tour escort, Jean-Claude. We have a 3-tiered discipline policy. Marco, you still here? Marco, you screw up, I'm going to yell at you. All right? I got to be mom or dad while we're over there for 3 weeks. You screw up again, we're going to make a collect phone call home. And I'm giving you the phone, and you're going to tell mom and dad why we're calling. And yes, even Marco is going to have some tears. And we're not going to have any more problems, right, Marco? No. Right, all right. Marco, if you do anything illegal, stealing, drugs, you're going to have to sign paperwork saying that we have the right to send you home at your parents' expense at the nearest airport. Okay? I guarantee a one-way ticket home on the spot is going to cost more than the whole trip is. Itinerary. I told you about how well crafted I think these itineraries are. You're all going to get a copy, literally an hour by hour of what we're doing every day for 3 weeks. The students will probably download it into their phones and stuff as well, but we're going to actually require they carry a paper copy on them, on their body at all times. And we're going to check it about 6 to 7 times a day. They're going to put it right with their passport, in their passport pouch, around their neck, and they're going to carry it under their clothing, and they're going to carry it on their body at all times. So, that reminds me, we can account for everybody on this tour in about 30 seconds. So when we get together, we split by coach, and we have a counting system. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We practice, we race. Up to 45, 50, whatever it is, and we can account for everybody. When we do that, we check passports and itineraries. Every time we get on the buses, we check passports and itineraries. Every time we have bed check, we check passports and itineraries. You're going to get home and show mom and dad your passport and itinerary, because it's time for the check. Hey, listen, bed checks. The most important thing about this trip is your safety. I need to know that you're safe. So the expectations are, when we do bed checks, you're to be in your rooms from bed check to breakfast. That way I know you're safe. If you're out of your room after bed check, you're in a foreign country with foreign locals, you're just not safe. Okay? I love this. A lot of parents love this too. Every evening's accounted for with planned group activities. There's lots of free time on this tour. You got lots of days and lots of lunch hours and a couple hours here, a couple hours there. I'm all day in Salzburg. You are having a lot of free time. But in the evening, we have concerts, like I said, every other night, and the nights in between, we have planned group activities, including a disco dance in Salzburg, we have evening walking tours, a folkloric evening entertainment, Tyrolean Folk Festival, a spa town walking tour in Italy. Great. All right, let's talk about packing. 1 35-pound suitcase. That's not a lot for 3 weeks in Europe. How are you going to do it? The newsletters. Keep coming back to the newsletters. They're going to tell you exactly how to pack. Follow. 44 years, 40,000 kids have done it. So, first thing is, you're not going to bring denim. I know, I live in my jeans every day. We're not going to bring denim. First of all, it's the heaviest material you can bring. And you can't wash it because you can't dry it. And it's going to weigh down your shoes. We're going to wear khakis and shorts and sundresses and so forth. And we're going to look nicer too. Instead of 150 American teenagers in their ripped denim. So let's see, what else? The 1 carry-on, 17-pound carry-on. Most kids bring like a book bag. That's great, that works. Your instrument, laundry. Hey, do you think we take 150 kids into a German laundromat with funny money and instructions in German? No. So what are you going to do? You're going to bring a small bottle of laundry detergent, and when I tell you, you're going to fill the sink in your room with hot water, and you're going to wash some of the clothes that you need to wash. Hey, that's pretty good. Nobody fell out of their chair. That's great. So why wouldn't I tell you? Because you're going to do your laundry on the first night where we're staying multiple nights. Why? So it can dry. Well, you're good. You're good. You can go. But listen, the last thing, this is really a very serious issue. The last thing you want to do is put damp clothes in your suitcase under a hot coach on the way to the next country. It will contaminate everything in your suitcase. You're going to smell like mildew. Nobody's going to want to sit next to you on the bus. You can't wash it out. You have to throw away your clothes. So it's actually a very serious issue, right? And we have to manage it really well, and we have to have good communication. Staff and students. Staff and students. Hey, but we've been doing it for 44 years. It works. We know how to do it. All right, no additional items. If you'd like to go on this trip, there's no audition. You go to Carmel High School, you're in a good music program, and however, we need to know how you play. So do I put you on first clarinet and give you a solo, or do I put you on third clarinet? We need to know. So in January, the newsletters are going to tell you exactly what to do. You're going to record, make a small little audio recording in MP3, and you're going to submit it online of you playing. It's like you play a major scale, make a chromatic scale, and then you play 2 short little 30-second excerpts, something a little faster and more rhythmic, something slower and more melodic. And based on that, we're going to listen to all the clarinet players and then rank everybody and figure out who plays first, who plays second, who plays third. Make sense? There's actually going to be a reading session in New Jersey, which is going to be kind of like, I forgot to tell you, our tour is coming from New Hampshire, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. So, New Jersey is kind of like the center of that. So on the Jersey Shore, at my wife's school at Southern Regional, in May, I have the date, I'm not sure exactly what it is, like the 29th or 30th. It's a Sunday afternoon from like 1 to 4, we're going to have a reading session. And students will come. Not everybody will make it. I'm sure our New Hampshire kids aren't going to make it down, or our Oswego kids. They're going to probably have their own reading sessions. But you'll meet a lot of kids and get a chance to get through the music together. And I already talked about the newsletters and the binders. There are also going to be some information in the email you get tonight about fundraising. It's on your own, but there's some suggestions and some links to things that you might consider doing. We've had a lot of kids raise a lot of money for this. I've always had a handful of kids that have raised every cent of this tour, and the parents haven't paid a thing. If you want to go, there's ways to do it, and some people save more than a year. Some people, but I think the best idea is to have a plan. Make a plan that you want to raise. Like, don't try to raise $4,000 or $5,000 doing one thing. Door-to-door sales are not the best way to raise money, but do something unique to raise a couple $100 here. Do something else, a couple $100 there. Spread it out from now all the way to June, and figure out ways how you're going to do that. Talk to your aunts and uncles and grandparents. Grandparents love to help you out with this kind of a tour, because they'll understand what an experience of a lifetime it really is. Okay, that's not the application process. The application process is on the form that you just got. Can I just see this for a second? The bottom left-hand corner is a QR code. You click on that, and by the way, it'll also be in the email that you get tonight. I'm sure there'll be a link to applying. I can tell you that right now our gold tour is 65% full as of the end of last week. We've actually been recruiting for almost 2 months at this point. There are 2 websites that I want to tell you about. AmericanMusicAbroad.com is the company website for all 8 tours. I have a separate website, which I'll be sharing with you by email, and that has a lot of movie clips and pictures of the Gold Tour and the Gold Tour staff of this particular tour that you're going on. All right, you're going to receive an email. It's going to have all that kind of stuff in it that I mentioned. And I'm going to end with this, and then I'll answer anybody's questions.